Discover the incredible secrets of Bedouins, heartwarming ways they survived 50 degrees Celsius desert heat. Sam stood in the blistering sun of the small desert town, sweat trickling down his back as he maneuvered his landscaping truck. He felt that familiar tightness in his chest, a reminder of the struggles he faced raising 2 young children alone after losing his beloved wife. Life felt like an endless desert, hopeless and parched. But deep down, hope flickered. He drew strength from the endurance of the Bedouin tribes, who thrived amidst the harshest conditions. They survived against the odds with family, grit, and an unshakable spirit. It was the very spirit he aimed to instill in his kids, Jamie and Lily, who watched him like little hawks, observing what it meant to be a family. As summer scorched on, the town began to crumble. Once filled with laughter and the warmth of community, it now simmered with tension and division. The annual festival, which had become a cherished symbol of what connected them, was at risk of being cancelled. As the news spread, Sam clenched his fists, fighting back frustration. The festival was more than just a carnival, it was a lifeline that showed them they could overcome anything if they stood together. Determined, Sam reached out to neighbors and local business owners, pleading for collaboration. Yet his anxious appeals met skepticism, especially from the wealthier families who saw only their interests, dismissing the festival as a waste. "Why should we care?" a man scoffed, looking past him as if he were air. Sam felt his heart sink, but he refused to give up. He envisioned the Bedouin, crafting a life in a brutal desert. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the day of the festival arrived, Sam stood before the crowd, a stirring anxiety twisting in his stomach. The sun began to dip, casting an orange hue over the gathering. This was his moment. He felt the heat radiate not just from the ground, but from the eyes of the townsfolk, waiting for him to speak. Sam began recounting a gripping story of a Bedouin family unwavering in their commitment to support one another through the fiercest storms of life. They had nothing, yet they weathered the heat as a family, bonding together under a small piece of canvas, he said, his voice rising with emotion. Slowly, faces softened, hardened expressions giving way to curiosity and understanding. Conversation sparked among neighbors, addressing the very divisions that had crept into their lives. Sam watched their body language shift, the undercurrent of unity beginning to rise like the desert sun. As the festival culminated in vibrant colors and laughter, Sam felt the uncertainty linger. Could they truly bridge the divide? Would this festival be the spark they needed? The realization hit him, like a sudden gust of wind kicking up dust, that the heart of their struggle was more profound than finances. It was the willingness to recognize the strength found in unity. As families began mingling, Sam's heart raced with hope. But would this newfound sense of connection endure when the festival lights faded? As the festival reached its peak, laughter echoed off the desert walls, mixing with the vibrant sounds of music and the aroma of sweet spices wafting through the air. Sam watched Jamie and Lily dart off to join other children at the juice stand, their faces painted with splashes of color. For the first time in a long while, they seemed to forget the weight of their loss, their giggles brightening the dim corners of his heart. But as he looked around, Sam realized not everyone had found peace. A group of older residents huddled together, their brows furrowed in disapproval. "This is just a distraction," one of them muttered, arms crossed defiantly. Sam felt that familiar knot returning to his chest. Even in this moment of joy, shadows lingered in the corners, reminding him that the work wasn't done. Determined to challenge the division, Sam approached the group, his heart pounding. "Can we talk?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. The faces turned toward him with skepticism, scanning him as if he were an unwelcome interloper. "There is something we all value: a shared life, memories, connections. This festival isn't just a distraction, it's a chance to rebuild, he said, his words flowing as he moved past his nerves. The responses were mixed. Some rolled their eyes, while others exchanged glances as if beginning to consider his point. Sam dug deep, pulling forth the stories he'd heard from his own mother about how the Bedouins shared bread and water, respecting each other's differences as they journeyed through endless sands. They didn't stay apart, they found strength in the different colors of their community just like us, he added, hoping to spark a connection. One woman from the group, her hair lined with silver, stepped forward. "We've lost more than our festival, we've lost our trust," she said, her voice trembling. "How do we get that back?" Sam's heart raced at her honesty. This was the moment he had feared, yet wished for an opening in the wall of division. "We start today," he said softly, meeting her gaze. "By choosing to engage, to share even in small ways." A shift occurred, almost imperceptible at first. People began to lower their shields, exchanging nods and whispers. The noise of the festival faded slightly as he realized they were actually listening. Behind him, the sound of laughter continued, the festival pulsing with life. Sam felt hope budding in his chest but knew it was fragile. Just as a Bedouin family had to nurture their dreams under the sun, so too did they have to cultivate this momentum. With renewed determination, he invited them to join him and the kids in the main square for a community game, a traditional team-building activity that echoed Bedouin customs. "Let us find our way back to each other," he pleaded. "Let us be a family again." As he extended his hand, a slow smile crept across the woman's face. Slowly, others began to move toward him, curiosity peaking. The tension broke, leaving space for the flickers of connection to grow. Just then, Jamie and Lily returned, excitement written all over their faces. "Can we help, Dad?" they asked, eager to join in. "Of course," Sam replied, a wave of warmth wrapping around him. The festival, once a mere celebration, was becoming a bridge, a place where past hurts could dissolve into the laughter of children and shared stories of resilience. But as night began to fall and the stars sparkled high above, a chilling wind swept through the town, and Sam couldn't shake the feeling that there were challenges yet to come. Would they really be able to keep this unity alive once the festival ended? His thoughts raced with possibilities, hinting at a deeper conflict lurking just below the surface. What awaited them once the night was over? The air buzzed with a newfound energy as Sam stood in the center of the square. Laughter floated around him like music, urging him to hold on to this moment. He could see Jamie and Lily pulling together a small crowd. They were sharing their bubbling excitement, inviting others to join in the games. Each eager face around them ignited a spark of hope in Sam, as if maybe, just maybe, they were starting to bridge the gap that had driven them apart. "Okay, everyone. Gather around," Jamie shouted, her voice ringing clear above the festival's rise. Sam watched as the people he'd just spoken to hesitantly joined in, a few casting wary glances but mostly intrigued. He felt a flutter of pride for his kids. They had a natural way of inspiring others. "First, we'll need teams," Lily chimed in, clapping her hands. The kids squealed in delight, running around to recruit volunteers. Adults looked at one another, communicating in silent exchanges before one older man stepped forward. He chuckled, a deep sound that echoed warmth, and soon others followed. Soon, groups came together, some hesitant at first but slowly loosening up as they began to strategize and laugh. The game was simple, a relay combining moments of both teamwork and fun. As they raced against each other, the barriers of age, past grievances, and doubts blurred, replaced with shouts of encouragement and cheers. Sam felt his heart swell, the laughter blending with the sweet desert air. Yet, even amidst the growing joy, a shadow flickered at the edge of his thoughts. The wind picked up again, a sharp chill contrasting with the warmth of the night. Was this unity merely an illusion? An intoxicating distraction from the truths lurking behind the facade of festivity? Sam shook off the dread, focusing on the glowing faces around him. An instant later, Jamie sprinted past him, a burst of energy and laughter, and Sam couldn't help but grin. "Keep up, Dad," she called, and he found himself swept up in the exhilaration. He joined her side, running the race with a zeal he hadn't felt in years. Each stride felt like a reclaiming of the joy he had thought lost. But just as Sam began to lose himself in the moment, a cry pierced the air, a gasp rising from the onlookers. Sam looked up to see the older woman from before, the one who had expressed their collective distrust. She stood clutching her chest, trembling as if being swept away by the very storm he feared. "Esther!" someone shouted, their voice mingled with worry. Sam's heart plummeted, and he rushed toward her, sensing the air shift like the change of tide. As he reached her side, he could see her distress, a storm brewing in her eyes. The games diverted everyone's focus, but now, the joy paused, dangling in silence. "Please, I can't breathe," she wheezed softly, the laughter around them dimming to an uneasy quiet. With urgency, Sam knelt beside her, ready to help, yet unsure of what support she truly needed. Other residents rushed forward, and as they surrounded her, Sam felt the fragility of their progress starkly. Had their moment of unity been false? With their laughter now silenced, questions whispered in his mind. What could bind them together now? The night, once illuminated by joy, seemed to shift, revealing deeper shadows. There was more to confront than just fear. Heartbreak lay intertwined with their hope. How would they stand strong through this test when the fabric of their fragile community felt torn once more? Sam's heart raced as he knelt beside Esther, her shallow breath sending ripples of anxiety through the gathering crowd. He reached out to grip her hand, hoping the warmth of his touch would ground her. The weight of uncertainty settled heavily on his chest, a stark contrast to the lightness that had filled the air just moments ago. "Esther, you're going to be okay. Just breathe with me," he whispered, trying to project calm even as panic threatened to consume him. The crowd grew closer, their faces a medley of worry, confusion, and fear. Sam could feel the collective heartbeat of the community swirling around them, fragile yet fervent. Jamie and Lily had rushed to his side, their youthful energy now replaced by an urgent concern. "What do we do, Dad?" Jamie asked, the tremor in her voice tugging at his heartstrings. He could see that without knowing it, they were on the brink of a deeper connection, a shared struggle painting their faces with stark reality. "Just keep her hand steady," Sam instructed, looking into Esther's eyes for signs of reassurance. Her breathing was rapid, almost frantic, and he could sense the unease blooming into panic. "We need to get her help." A nearby resident called for an ambulance, his voice cutting through the murmurs of the crowd. The sound created a ripple of urgency, bringing the reality of the situation crashing down. Moving as a unit, the crowd began to shift, forming a human barrier around Esther, offering her a semblance of protection amidst the chaos. "Don't worry, Esther. Help is on the way," Lily said softly, squeezing her other hand. The sweet innocence in Lily's voice sparked a momentary flicker of hope. Sam marveled at how his daughters had the ability to draw people close, both in joy and now in fear. They were weaving a thread of unity through the very heart of despair. As moments stretched into what felt like an eternity, Sam felt something stir within him, a desire to pull everyone together, to find strength and purpose beyond these events. Voices echoed with whispered encouragement as neighbors began to share stories, recalling moments where Esther had lent her support or offered a listening ear. "You remember that time she brought us soup when the storm knocked out our power?" Jamie reminisced, a sparkle in her eye. The mood shifted, and soon enough, laughter trickled back into the conversations. Esther's kindness wasn't simply a memory, it was a foundation of their community. And there it was, the fragile string of connection, binding them together. They were all standing at a precipice, stripped of the facade each carried, yet unified in a shared humanity. Just as a siren wailed in the distance, Sam felt a shift in the atmosphere. He glanced around and saw the weariness in the faces surrounding him. They all yearned for something to cling to, yet among the anxiety, he felt a warmth flicker in the air, a realization that came with the recognition of their shared struggle. Then Esther's breathing slowed, her grip on Sam's hand relaxed, and her eyes fluttered. I'm okay, she murmured, though the assurance felt tentative. Still, hope surged through Sam's veins. The ties woven in fear could maybe hold strong in faith too. The ambulance arrived, breaking the swirling tension with its flashing lights and authoritative presence. But as they prepared to assist Esther, Sam turned back to the crowd. This isn't over. We've made it through this. Together. The community leaned in, ready to listen, as Sam faced them all with renewed determination. But was this just the beginning of their journey, or were they simply bracing against the next storm that could tear them apart again? Let us talk, he said, and the silence that followed was loud with unspoken promises. What stories would they share next? What challenges awaited them on the horizon? The ambulance doors swung open, and paramedics jumped out, their swift and practiced movements almost reassuring. Sam watched as they worked, taking over for him and his daughters. He stepped back, the weight of Esther's hand slipping from his grasp. Esther, we're going to help you, one of the medics said, a calm voice breaking through the buzz of anxiety. Sam felt the crowd tense, still holding their breath as they watched. It was as if they had collectively crossed their fingers for a miracle, clinging to the hope that the faintest smile from Esther could spark life back into their vibrant community. As the medics took charge, Sam felt the pockets of people around him shift. Friends whispered urgent reassurances to one another, children peeked from behind their parents' legs, and the air crackled with a blend of worry and solidarity. Jamie and Lily stood close to him, their eyes wide, glistening with a mix of hope and fear. Dad, is she really okay? Jamie asked quietly, her voice trembling with uncertainty. I think so, Sam said, though he wasn't entirely certain. The reality of that moment felt too fragile, perched on the edge of something unpredictable. Lily rubbed Jamie's back in a soothing motion, her young heart instinctively knowing that comfort was needed. We should pray, she suggested, her innocence casting a gentle light through the thick fog of anxiety. Sam nodded. That's a good idea, sweetheart. They closed their eyes as their voices came together in a soft melody of hope, murmuring words of peace that spilled into the air like a whispered promise. Sam felt the energy shift, a subtle warmth embracing them, pulling their community a little closer together even as they stood apart. As prayers mingled with sirens and stifled sobs, Sam opened his eyes to a sight he would carry with him, neighbors standing shoulder to shoulder, ground down yet uplifted by a common experience. An older gentleman, Mr. Johnson, cleared his throat and stepped forward. This isn't just about Esther, he began. It's about all of us. His voice resonated, a steady beat against the chaos. Sam felt a tug of responsibility in his chest. It was more than just Esther's struggle, it was the moment they all needed to confront something larger that loomed over them, the fears and anxieties that could fracture their community if they didn't devise a way to hold on to one another. Mr. Johnson is right, Sam spoke, igniting the spirit within him. We've all seen how Esther brings us together. Let us keep this connection alive. We're stronger together. With determination fueling him, he looked each neighbor in the eye. Let us commit to checking in on one another. We won't wait for a crisis to remind us that we're in this together. The crowd murmured in agreement, and Sam could feel a subtle shift in their collective heartbeat. It felt like the roots of their community were being nurtured instead of torn apart, a garden of resilience sprouting amid the storm. Lily raised her hand shyly, a sudden spark of bravery igniting. Can we have a get-together? Like a potluck? As laughter erupted, the tension lifted, and with it, a new shared could take shape, a strength born from unity. Sam could see the first threads of a plan unfurling in excited chatter, the idea of sunlight and laughter replacing the shadow of fear. Yet he also sensed that their challenges were not behind them. What would happen when the next storm rolled in? Would the roots they were planting hold strong against the winds of adversity? Let us set a date for our gathering, he said, a smile creeping across his face. And, who knows, we might have a few surprises waiting just around the corner. As the day turned to dusk, uncertainty danced alongside hope, and they stood on the brink of transformation, every one of them learning that community wasn't just a word, it was a lifeline. But as he scanned the crowd, he couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper was at play, lurking in the shadows. What secrets might their united strength uncover? The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the gathering crowd. Sam felt a surge of warmth, not just from the fading light but from the stirrings of hope mingling in the air. Laughter danced in the spaces between anxious breaths as neighbors subtly exchanged comforting glances. Their faces bore marks of love, worry, and determination. He could sense that the potluck idea sparked more than just a shared meal, it was an opportunity to weave tighter the fabric of their community. He watched as Mrs. Harris, known for her famous blueberry pies, already made plans to contribute. She addressed everyone with a flair. "I'll bring dessert. We can't have a celebration without my pie." Her voice rang out like a bell. That tiny recollection of joy lifted the heaviness from Sam's heart. Jamie nudged him and whispered excitedly, "Can we bring cornbread, Dad?" "Of course, we can," he replied, a reassuring smile spreading across his face. Being surrounded by familiar voices reassured him that they were all navigating this storm together. But as the chatter continued, the shadows of worry still clung to Sam. What if Esther didn't make it? The truth sliced through him like a knife. This incident had already carved a scar on their hearts, and he feared what lay ahead. Just as he was grappling with those thoughts, the paramedics emerged from the ambulance, their expressions a veil of professionalism. He held his breath, the crowd instinctively quieting to catch every word. The lead medic stepped forward, clipboard in hand, and a solemn expression on his face. "We've stabilized her. She's awake now, but we're taking her to the hospital for further evaluation. It's critical she gets there soon." Relief rippled through the air like a gentle breeze. Sam exhaled, and a collective sigh swept through the crowd, faces relaxing, shoulders lowering. Esther was safe for now, but there was a lingering apprehension they had dodged one bullet, but wouldn't the next one come quicker? People began to disperse slowly, their conversations shifting, plans forming. The initial worry had somewhat dissipated, and yet, Sam sensed a tension remaining, a thread of unease woven into their hope. "We should go see her at the hospital," Lily suggested, her voice still carrying the sweetness of innocence. But Sam knew how chaotic it could be. Hospitals were worlds turned upside down. That didn't mean they couldn't add to the support. "Maybe we can make a welcome card for her," Sam proposed, and the children's faces lit up with inspiration. "Yeah. With glitter," Jamie exclaimed, her fear replaced by a fierce determination to brighten Esther's journey back to health. As the sun disappeared entirely, the community began to take their leave, each carrying a piece of the evening with them. Sam gathered his daughters close, holding them tightly. "Let us make those cards tonight. We'll work together, just like a family." Just as they turned to head home, a low fog began creeping into the street, thickening the night air. Sam felt unease dance at the edges of his consciousness again. Shadows stretched like fingers hoping to grasp at the old comforts of their neighborhood, but they were slipping away. Stepping inside the warmth of their home, Sam's heart raced not with fear but with the essence of something shifting. How long would their newfound closeness last? Would they still look out for each other when the dust settled? The click of the door echoed ominously behind them. And as he sat at the dining table, surrounded by crayons and construction paper, an unsettling thought struck him like a storm thunderclap: what secrets of struggle and survival still lingered in their hearts, waiting to be revealed? With each stroke of the crayon, the excitement of the moment was drowning in a quiet anxiety. What darkness would they have to face before the next sunrise? The air inside the house was thick with both excitement and tension as Sam, Jamie, and Lily sat at the wooden table. Bright colors from the crayons stood out against the white construction paper, but the details blurred as Sam's mind wandered. "Let us draw her favorite flowers," Jamie suggested, her little eyes sparkling with ideas. Lily nodded enthusiastically, "Yeah. And hearts. She'll love that." Sam watched as their innocence glimmered, and he couldn't help but smile. Amid the chaos surrounding them, his daughters were beacons of hope, and he cherished these moments. As they sketched, Sam's thoughts drifted to Esther. He envisioned her sitting in her garden, the sun warming her cheeks, surrounded by the blooms she nurtured with love. He thought about how often Esther shared those gardening tips with his girls. "You know, Esther always says that flowers can bring out the best in people," he murmured aloud. "Like sunshine." Jamie chimed in, her fingers dancing on the paper as she drew bright yellow daisies. "Yes, exactly," Sam replied, his heart swelling with emotion. The laughter of his children momentarily silenced his fears. But as they continued crafting the card, a feeling of weight pressed against him. He idly drew swirls and lines, lost in thoughts of fragility and resilience that life seemed to serve up without warning. "Dad?" Lily's soft voice broke through the air. What if Aunt Esther can't come back home? What will we do?" The question hung heavy in the room, and Sam sighed, feeling the weight of it settle over them all. "Hey," he said, leaning closer to his daughters. "We don't know what tomorrow brings. But we'll face it together. As long as we stick together, we can handle anything." They nodded, but he could see uncertainty flashing in their eyes. After a gentle pause, Jamie looked up and asked, "What if Aunt Esther needs us to help her at the hospital?" The idea bubbled in the air and touched Sam's heart. "Yes. We could be her special helpers," Lily added, her imagination igniting like a spark. The thought was enough to sow fresh seeds of resolve in Sam's heart. "Absolutely. We can visit her with the card, and if she needs anything, we'll make sure she gets it. We can be strong for her like she's always been strong for us." As they finished decorating the card with stickers and glitter, the rain began to patter gently against the window, tiny droplets accumulating like an orchestra of whispers from the sky. Sam felt a familiar pang of anxiety, but an idea struck him like a light bulb flickering to life. "What if we ask the neighbors to help us too? Maybe we can put together a basket of goodies for her," he suggested, feeling excitement pulse through the girls. Jamie and Lily cheered. "Yeah. We could bake cookies. And muffins. And maybe bring her some flowers too." Their enthusiasm ignited a fire within him. He began to imagine the community banding together in support. "Great idea. Let us do it," he encouraged, their engagement pushing away the looming shadows. He realized that even in the hardest times, love and unity could create an unbreakable bond. As they gathered their art supplies, Sam stole a glance at the window. The rain fogged the glass, distorting the neighborhood outside, almost like it was hiding something. A soft knock echoed, and the sudden sound made all three jump. Who could that be? He wondered aloud, his heart quickening. It was definitely late for a visitor. With cautious steps forward, Sam cracked open the door, the latch clicking back softly. Just outside, the silhouette of a figure stood, barely illuminated by the porch light. "What is going on? What is wrong?" Sam felt his pulse spike as he faced the unknown. Nothing could have prepared him for the revelation waiting on the other side of the door. The figure stepped into the light, revealing a familiar face that sent a shockwave through Sam's heart. It was Mrs. Baker, their neighbor, her usual calm demeanor replaced with concern. "Sam," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "I just heard about Esther. I had to come see if you need anything." Sam's breath caught in his throat. The news had spread quickly. We're fine," he said, though it felt like a lie. He didn't feel fine. Inside, he was a whirlwind of worry and uncertainty. "Oh, Sam," she continued, stepping closer, her warm eyes reflecting the dim light. "I brought over some soup I made. Just in case." She held up a steaming container, an offering of comfort during a time marked by turmoil. "Thank you, Mrs. Baker," he replied, his voice steady but filled with gratitude. "That means a lot to us." He reached out and took the soup, suddenly feeling the weight of the neighbors' compassion. The girls peeked around Sam's legs, their curiosity overwhelming. Is something wrong with Aunt Esther? Jamie asked, her innocent question hanging in the air like a fragile balloon, ready to pop with the wrong word. Mrs. Baker knelt so she could look at the girls, her expression softening. Aunt Esther is going through a tough time, but she's got a lot of love around her. Just like you girls have love from your dad. That makes all the difference. Lily nodded, squeezing Jamie's hand. We want to help her, like she helps everyone else. Sam watched as Mrs. Baker exchanged a look with him. A silent understanding passed between them. The community was stepping up. We were just brainstorming what we could do for her, he said, trying to keep his voice steady. I can help with that, she offered, standing back up. I think we could organize something for her. Maybe rally a few more neighbors together. Let us bring some cheer her way. The girls bounced on their feet, their spirits lifting at the thought. Cookies. Flowers. We can do a lot. Jamie shouted, bouncing in place, her happiness infectious. Yes. Lily echoed. As Mrs. Baker smiled, Sam felt a wave of warmth spreading through him. They were going to do this together, as a neighborhood. It wasn't just about Esther, it was about community, resilience, and love intertwined. Let us start with a plan, Sam said, his voice clearer, filled with purpose. We can make a list of everything we need to gather. Cookies, flowers, and maybe some little gifts. Mrs. Baker nodded enthusiastically as the conversation blossomed, ideas bounced back and forth. Little by little, they began to map it out, each suggestion strengthening their resolve. As laughter filled the kitchen, Sam felt lighter for the first time since the news. The girls were animated, discussing which cookies to bake, while Mrs. Baker chimed in, suggesting recipe ideas. But then, as a sudden gust rattled the window, a thought burst through Sam's mind. Despite the comfort of community, there was still part of this story unresolved. Would Esther be okay? And just then, a lingering thought poked at the back of his mind. Was there more to Esther's situation than he knew? Mrs. Baker, he asked suddenly, his pulse picking up again, have you heard anything more about her condition? Her smile faded, replaced by a serious look. Well, I did hear some things. It's not just the flu as they suspected. The air around them shifted, thickening with possibility. Sam could feel the tension mounting. What do you mean? He pressed, his heart racing, hoping for not only answers but clarity in the storm of uncertainty. And as Mrs. Baker began to speak, Sam knew they were on the brink of discovering something that could change everything. Sam, I heard it was something more serious. She was taken to the hospital for additional tests. Mrs. Baker's words hung in the air like a storm cloud, heavy with unspoken truths. Sam felt his heart drop. The soup in his hands suddenly seemed too warm, too suffocating. What do you mean? Is it serious? He asked, his voice cracking. The girls were too young to understand the weight of those words, yet they sensed something had shifted in the room. Mrs. Baker sighed, brushing a hand through her hair as if searching for the right words. I don't have all the details, but they found something they didn't expect. Something concerning her. Doctor mentioned the possibility of it being more than just the flu. Sam closed his eyes for a moment, the air growing thicker in his lungs. He felt helpless. Esther had been the brimming heart of their small community, always helping others, always shining light in their darkest days. Now, that light flickered. Jamie tugged on his pant leg, her innocence breaking through the tension. Daddy, is Aunt Esther going to be okay? Her eyes shimmered with tears, a reflection of his own fear. He knelt down, meeting her gaze. Sweetheart, we're going to do everything we can to help her, okay? We'll bring her flowers and cookies and cheer. Lily chimed in, and love. She needs a lot of love, Dad. Her hopeful words hung in the air, a brief moment of brightness in the dim kitchen. Absolutely, Sam replied, putting on a brave face. But inside, his heart was twisted in knots. How could they comfort her when uncertainty loomed so large? Mrs. Baker placed a hand on his shoulder. Sam, let us gather more community support. Esther needs to feel that love, and we need to know what is happening. They spent the next couple of hours making calls. Sam reached out to other neighbors, and Mrs. Baker coordinated food donations. The girls got involved by crafting little cards with drawings and messages for Esther, filling the kitchen with laughter despite the heavy weight pressing on them. As the night wore on and the sun dipped below the horizon, Sam found himself sitting at the table alone, the earlier joy from the girls still echoing in the air. He had a stack of cards beside him, but all he could think about was Esther lying in a hospital bed, possibly scared and alone. A thought invaded his mind. What if they were too late? Just then, his phone buzzed. It was a text from one of their neighbors, asking about a prayer circle for Esther. The idea ignited a sense of urgency in him. They would need to rally not just for support but for strength. The following day, Sam organized a meeting at the community center. The word spread like wildfire. People from all over brought comforting dishes, flowers, and hopeful hearts. As he stood at the front of the small crowd, he noticed each face, some worried, some hopeful. "Thank you for coming together for Esther," he began, heart pounding like a drum. "She is ours to protect, just like we protect each other. We need each other now more than ever." Just as he finished speaking, Sam's phone buzzed again. It was Mrs. Baker, her text short, but it felt monumental. "Call me. It's about Esther." An icy gust of apprehension swept through him. He couldn't delay. "Guys, I'll be right back," he called out, his heart racing as he stepped outside. With each step, anxiety clawed at his chest. What did she know? What had happened? As he dialed her number, he stood alone under the fading light, feeling the weight of his responsibility. As Mrs. Baker picked up, he braced himself for the news. "Sam, you need to prepare yourself. There is something you need to understand." The world around him blurred, and a sense of trepidation washed over him, drowning out the fading laughter he'd just left behind. What was she about to reveal? "Sam, it's about Esther's diagnosis. The doctors found something troubling, a mass that may require further treatment." Mrs. Baker's voice held an unusual weight, and Sam felt the air leave his lungs as if he had been punched. A mass? His thoughts spiraled. Had his beloved neighbor, a woman who had filled their lives with kindness and love, fallen into this darkness? What does that mean? He stammered, feeling raw panic tighten around his throat. "Is it Sam? We don't have all the details yet, but it could be serious. We need to be prepared for whatever comes next. We need to show her we're here for her," she urged, her voice a steady force amidst his storm of worry. He hung up the phone, his heart thudding like a war drum. All the unanswered questions raced through his mind. Could it be cancer? Would she endure treatment? Would she even make it back home? How could he explain all this to Jamie and Lily? The reality of their fragile community buckled under the weight of one person's struggle. He took a deep breath, grounding himself as he returned to the group. They needed a plan, a show of unity that would blanket Esther in love and strength. "Everyone, can I have your attention?" he called out, anchoring his voice. The room quieted, faces turning toward him, each one mirror reflections of concern and uncertainty, the whispers of hope just below the surface. "I just spoke with Mrs. Baker. We have news about Esther. It's difficult, but it's essential we rally around her, not just with food and gifts but with our spirits." A hush enveloped the room, holding them captive to his words. "We need to hold each other up and support her through this fight. We'll set up a schedule to visit her, to bring her all the love she has given to all of us." He watched the resolve begin to bounce off the walls. "Let us create a list of meals we can rotate, let us organize visits and games for her to brighten her spirits, and let us do it together." Someone in the back spoke out, "We can help hem her curtains. I know how much she appreciates that." Another voice chimed in, "I'll bring the kids to sing her favorite songs." The tension in the air shifted, sparks of unity igniting hope. Sam felt each suggestion drip color back into the still gray picture of their lives. Yes. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. He urged, feeding off their enthusiasm. As they broke into teams, mapping out their efforts, it felt calmer in the room. They were sharing ideas, laughing, and planning as if pushing back against the encroaching shadows. And in that moment of action, Sam saw brightness emerge in Jamie's eyes. Can we come up with a special song for Aunt Esther? Something just for her. It pulled at Sam's heartstrings, a reminder that hope and healing could coexist with worry and fear. Absolutely. He encouraged. The room buzzed with renewed energy, the urgency not diminished but transformed, glistening with possibility. As he returned home that night, Sam felt lighter, the oppressive darkness easing its hold on his heart. He sensed strength simmering within the community, a barricade against fear. Jamie and Lily were happily discussing their song ideas, painting vivid images of joy and togetherness in their creations. Perhaps this was the thread that had begun to weave tighter around them. Days turned into weeks, filled with oscillating currents of laughter and intention. They hosted potlucks, children created artwork, and neighbors sang songs in Esther's living room. Esther, despite the doctor's grim predictions, glowed with strength as she received their love. Sam watched her smile radiant and familiar, a flower blooming amidst the desert sand. Her spirit began lifting, finding laughter amidst the uncertainty. Yet, as the sun dipped each evening, shadows danced closer, whispering fears of what lay ahead. Would they be there when the tide surged? Would their unity withstand future storms? Then came the day of Esther's treatments. Sam stood at her door, holding that now familiar container of soup, feeling the warmth steadily against the chill of doubt gnawing at the edges of his heart. With each knock, he reminded himself what weariness felt like. They had shared laughter, shared stories, and woven memories of resilience into the fabric of their community cleverly stitched with love. He heard movement on the other side. Sam! Esther greeted, strength and warmth radiating from her. The sight of her alive and thriving filled him with joy, reflecting the sum of everything they had built together through struggle and compassion. "Hey, Aunt Esther," he replied, stepping inside. "Look at my cards." Jamie exclaimed, running toward Esther. "We made them just for you." Lily and Jamie flanked him, presenting the art with the utmost pride. Sam could see the flicker of joy in Esther's eyes as she looked upon the colorful creations. "Each one is a reminder that you are never alone," Sam said softly. They spent the evening sharing stories, laughter, and, yes, even tears, for struggles are what make joy more profound. And he realized that while life held its uncertainties, the golden thread of community they had woven would be their strength. As night crept in, Esther looked at Sam, her voice steady. "Thank you for reminding me that I'm loved. It's made all the difference." "I didn't do it alone," he replied. "None of us did." Sam felt warmth spreading through him as he looked at Jamie and Lily, their faces bright with hope. Just like the Bedouins he admired, navigating endless sands, they had cultivated a different kind of resilience, a community bound in love. With each hurdle they faced, they found ways to gather, ways to connect. And even as starry skies blanketed their small corner of the world, they dove into the uncharted waters that lay ahead together, their hearts joined in unwavering hope. So, no matter what challenges awaited them, they would share the burden, share the joys, because together was always stronger. Life's storms would come and go, but it was the bonds forged in the midst that shaped their everything. As they wrap up tonight, you can feel this transformation in your bones. Let it ignite a spark. Do you want to witness more incredible journeys of resilience? This is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, it truly matters. And comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let us spread the love together.